Hey guys, Brian Connolly here with another video on prayer, and I think today is actually going to make a whole lot more sense why we've been spending so much time laying the foundation that we have about knowing Jesus and just what it means to actually have a relationship with God through prayer. And actually what I'm going to do today is actually share with you the first verses I ever memorized as a believer. And I don't remember if I've talked about these in any other videos, but before Jesus, I was an extremely anxious person. And there was actually a teaching done years ago by Charles Stanley, who's a Southern Baptist minister. He has his own show on TV called In Touch Ministries, and he's a wonderful just Bible teacher. And my mom turned me on to him shortly after I was born again, and he did this incredible teaching on anxiety and worry, and it blessed me tremendously. And after I heard it, and after I began to put these verses into practice through my own prayer life, I began to experience the peace of God in new ways. The anxiety left. It was just there was a childlikeness, that's found in these verses. Well, here they are. Here's the thing. It's so helpful sometimes to know the backdrop and the context that these verses are coming out of. Paul is in a Roman prison, guys. He's chained, and he's writing these verses that are contained in Philippians 4, verses 6 through 7. He says, "Be anxious for nothing." And I gotta smile when I say that, because that sounds so intense. To our modern world and our society, to have absolutely no anxiety makes no sense. It doesn't even register on our grid. But the reason why he's saying it is because it's possible, and he lays out the key here, why it's possible. Let me just quote the verses, and then I'll just go ahead and we'll pick some things out that I think are going to be key and will help you in your prayer time. He says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, make your requests made known to God. And the peace of God that surpasses all comprehension or all knowledge will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus." Now, anybody can tell God what it is that concerns them. Anybody can cast their anxieties on the Lord, like 1 Peter 5 talks about. Anybody can bring their laundry list of concerns and things that they want to see God do in their life to Him. But I think there's this one word in these verses that I think changes everything. And this is the words what Paul is saying. He said, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication." That means just your petitions, your requests. You're telling God what's on your heart, what's on your mind, with thanksgiving. Now, here's why it's key that we spend so much time wanting to know God the right way. Because we've been talking about faith being born out of knowing God. We talked about the importance of knowing Jesus. We believe He's the will of God revealed. And the more you know God's heart, the more you know His love, the more you know His promises, the more you know His will. This is where you have faith in the face of life and in the face of anxiety and in the face of trial and in the face of circumstances. I believe that we can be thankful, and this is what brought so much peace to my heart. Was I not only would tell God what concerned me, the secret to my peace was the moment I was done with telling Him what I was anxious about, and I was practicing this back in college. I'm like, God, I've got this test, but there was this childlikeness where after I did it, I'm like, God, I'm thankful that You see it, that You know me, and that You have this in Your hands. All I'm doing is telling You, and I'm being thankful that You're with me and You know how to handle the situation when I don't. There's something, and that thanksgiving, guys, I believe comes out of when you know His will, when you know His heart, when you know who He is in your life. And that's where the peace of God comes from. It's not enough to be frantic and nail biting and telling Him, God, I'm scared. There's something about God. I'm thankful that as I'm praying this, You're listening. I'm thankful that as I'm praying this, You're here with me. I'm thankful that as I'm praying this, You're walking with me in the face of what it is that concerns me. And that thanksgiving takes your heart from despair into encouragement, from a place of hopelessness back into hope, because you're thankful for the one who's listening, whose ear is and whose eye is bent towards the righteous, and who uplifts you and who blesses you and strengthens you by His power. And that's where the peace comes from. So when you're praying, I encourage you, and maybe we'll talk about it next week as well, practice thanksgiving, practice being thankful. It'll safeguard your heart from discouragement. And be thankful that He's listening. Be thankful that He's there. Be thankful that He cares. Be thankful that He's listening and He knows what concerns you. Guys, I bless you. Be encouraged. We'll talk to you next week.